Romance of Sui and Tang Dynasties, Chapter 43.
The text sets that mood immediately. It talks about the national turmoil and this deep contrast between principled heroes and corrupt officials. And we're picking up the story right as this huge figure, Shan Xiangxin, arrives at the camp. He knows his family is safe, and he's ready to join.
And his arrival just forces the issue instantly. He's the big celebrity recruit they needed, but he doesn't let them just celebrate. He gets right down to business.
Okay, let's unpack that critical moment. Shan Xiangxin refuses the camp leader Zirang's polite offer of the chief's seat.
Right.
And he explicitly says they have to sit fixed. Right then. Yeah. Right there.
And that's not just about courtesy. It's about establishing the venerable and inferior sequence for one reason: future command enforcement.
Wow, so structure over etiquette, that's a huge signal.
It's the exact moment they stop being an informal gang and start trying to be a serious military organization. If you just allow, sitting all over the place like at a normal party.
Then what happens when you give an order?
Exactly. Any discipline just collapses. If the leader's authority isn't cemented in that room, it's definitely not going to be respected on the battlefield.
And what follows is this fascinating clash between sort of traditional social rules and the new needs of military command.
Yeah, Zirang's first idea is, it's based on two things. He wants to honor Shan Xiangxin first as the big new recruit.
And then Li Xuansui second because it's his wedding feast, right?
Yes, a celebratory feast. But then the strategist, Xu Maogong, he steps in and does some really high-level social engineering. He gets it. They need military structure, but ignoring these really deep-seated social rules would just undermine everything.
So what does he do?
He points out that since this is technically a wedding celebration, Wang Laweng Li Xuansui's new father-in-law, he must take the chief seat. He's the honored elder and guest. It's proper, unassailable etiquette.
Wait, let me just stop you there. This is absolutely critical. They are literally putting the leader of the entire camp, Zirang, second to the father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that tradition so important that it actually supersedes the immediate military hierarchy?
It's about legitimacy. It's about building a broader base. They're rebels, sure, but they're not, nihilists.
Right.
By putting the revered elder in seat one, they're signaling that they respect traditional societal order, filial piety. It makes them look less like simple bandits and more like principled traditionalists who are just responding to a failed government.
And Zirang just accepts it.
Immediately.
Yeah.
He says, I am truly a rough person. I lost my sense of propriety. He gets it. He accepts the structure and its cultural restraint.
So once the guest of honor is in seat one, they pivot to the fixed, functional military hierarchy for everyone else. The logic is so clear now.
Indeed. Wang Laweng is seat one. Seat two goes to Zirang, the leader, the Zaizu. But the reason given is adherence to his zhou, his control, because he's the one who gathered them.
So authority by initiation.
Exactly. And seat three is fixed and unchanging for the deputy, Li Xuansui.
And here's where, for me, the revolutionary shift happens. Seat four is supposed to go to Shan Xiangxin, who's, arguably their biggest asset. But he refuses.
He refuses and insists Yu Naogong take that rank. This might be the most revealing moment in the whole passage.
Is that?
It confirms that this rebel movement, unlike so many others that just prioritize brute strength, placed strategic thinking at the very top. Shan Xiangxin praises Maogong, saying future success all relies on planning from within the tent.
But wait, isn't that a huge risk for Shan Xiangxin? He's the big name, the anchor they need to bring in other talent, and he immediately gives up a high rank. Does that signal incredible commitment, or could it, subtly signal weakness?
I think it signals profound political wisdom and confidence. By voluntarily placing the strategist above his own combat skill, he does two things. First, he elevates Maogong, making sure they use their best asset.
And second?
Second, he shows everyone else that his commitment is to the collective success, not his own personal glory. He's basically saying, I'm a warrior, but we need a general, and that general is Maogong. That commitment, it just outweighs the risk.
That makes a lot of sense. Strategy wins wars, not just swinging a big sword. So Maogong reluctantly takes forth, cementing the idea that the strategic mind outranks the powerful warrior.
And then the rest fall into place. Shan Xiangxin in seat 5, then Wang Bodang, Bing Yuanzhen, and so on.
The point isn't who is seat 7.
Not at all. The point is that seats 1 through 4 are fixed by this combination of societal rules and military necessity. It establishes an inviolable chain of command. And a banquet meant to celebrate a wedding turns into a formal military structuring session before a single drop of wine is served.
They understood infrastructure had to come before action. And as soon as the seeding's done, Shan Xiangxin shifts immediately to the practical questions.
Logistics. How many troops, and more importantly, how much grain?
And Xu Maogong's answer just lays out their reality. He figures they have a respectable, 7,000 or 8,000 troops. He doesn't seem too concerned about food.
No, he says they just need to break one place, and more soldiers and grain will come. That is the quintessential bandit economy mindset. Resources aren't fixed, they're acquired through raiding.
It's a logistical model based on expansion and plunder, not production.
Oh, exactly.
But that strategy, it can't sustain a government. And Maogong immediately puts his finger on the one thing that's holding them back.
Leadership depth. He says they have too few brothers, only 10 or so people who can actually command.
So they can raise an army.
But they don't have the middle management. They lack the leaders to hold counties they capture or manage resources or repel official troops on multiple fronts. They can fight a battle, but they can't manage a revolution.
And that shortage of talent drives their recruitment efforts, which is where we see their credibility really get tested. They tried to bring in Yuan Wai and Cheng Ziji, better known as Yao Jin.
Right, through a courier named Lian Ming. And Lian Ming reports back with the details of that failure. He tracked them down. Yuan Wai had actually fled his home because local officials were trying to extort him for 5,000 taels in silver.
So they were fugitives, desperate. They should have been easy recruits.
You'd think so. But their refusal was absolute and really specific.
They refused based on who is missing, not who is actually there.
Precisely. They asked, if Shan Xiangxin and Qiandage Qin Shubao are not there, why should we join? It just shows how tenuous the credibility of the Waganfai organization still was.
Even with 7,000 troops and a new hierarchy.
Yep. They'd heard rumors Shan Xiangxin was busy elsewhere, and they knew Qin Shubao was still technically working for the Sui government.
So even though they were outlaws on the run, they were waiting for the A-listers, the cause wasn't enough, the structure wasn't enough, it had to be the individual names they trusted.
It reveals a profound distrust of any new system. In chaotic times, people trust people, not institutions. If your movement doesn't have the famous figures who guarantee competence, resources, maybe even safety, potential recruits are just going to sit on the sidelines. They were loyal to the names, not the banner.
That is the central conflict of an early revolution, isn't it? But while Lian Ming is bringing back this bad news, he also picked up a critical piece of intelligence.
A game changer. He overheard a public servant in a village hotel.
And the news was bad.
Dire and incredibly specific. It was about 4 escaped rebels. 2 were caught, and they confessed that Wang Bodang had used a trick, probably a drug or poison, at a shop to knock out their escort and help them escape.
And the immediate consequences.
Officials are heading straight to Jiang Wangjiaji to arrest Wang Bodang. One of their top guys, one of the fixed-seat heroes, is now personally and immediately compromised.
This is where Zhu Maogong's strategic mind just shines. He doesn't panic. He wastes zero time.
He instantly organizes 2 simultaneous operations before dawn that address everything at once. Personal safety, getting resources, and recruitment.
Okay, let's break down that efficiency. Mission A is focused on family safety and sort of passive recruitment.
Lian Ming, Wang Dongren, and Qi Guoyan are sent out immediately, disguised as peddlers of miscellaneous goods. It's brilliant. Low profile, high mobility. Their target is a known loyalist, Jia Runfu, at the whipping cane shop.
And their objectives are all integrated. Deliver letters to build trust, get Jia Runfu to bring Wang Bodang's family to safety, and, if possible, recruit Jia Runfu.
It's security and expansion in one small tactical team.
Yeah.
At the same time, he launches Mission B Finance and Recon.
Zai Rang, Shan Xianxin, and Bing Yonsen lead 3,000 troops to Luzhu. Their primary goal is to borrow grain.
Which is rebel speak for seizing provisions from the prefecture.
But there's a secondary, highly personal goal in there, too. For Shan Xiangxin, the new guy, to check if his home, the famous Second Worthing Manor, had been damaged.
Again, you see it, combining high-level military objectives with very personal concerns. And that's a risky deployment. They just established they lack leaders, but they're sending the leader himself and their new star recruit on what's basically a supply run.
So Maogong must have judged that the symbolism of their 2 biggest names securing supplies was worth the risk.
It had to be. To maintain morale and signal their seriousness to Luzhu, and he even plans for reserves. He, Wang Bodang, and Li Ruge will follow later as a backup force.
And then there's that final kind of humorous detail. What about the newlywed Li Xuansui?
The Vix deputy. He has to stay behind and guard the camp. And Malgon uses this wonderful historical joke, saying that while Li Xuanzui isn't a lover of women like Lu Fengxian, he still needs to rest after his wedding night, his Qi, but also guard the headquarters.
I love that detail. I mean, in the middle of launching 2 military operations to save a family and raid a city, they still have time to joke about the newlywed.
It shows a real brotherhood, a human element. It reinforces the very structure they just fought to establish. It's a unique balance. Highly disciplined military structure layered with these deep personal relationships.
We're talking about a time when all the normal rules, official careers, loyalty, status, they just don't mean anything anymore.
They're worse than meaningless. They're a liability. The foundation is rotten. The text is so specific here, it mentions 20 to 30 different rebellions, or all flaring up at once.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, when you had that many synchronized uprisings, you know the center just cannot hold.
We're going to follow one man, Jia Runfu, who really feels this breakdown on a personal level.
He's a merchant, a successful one.
Exactly. And he sees the writing on the wall, he closes his shop booth, and he's basically pushed by events, by politics, into becoming a rebel at Wagang. He's not some wide-eyed revolutionary. He's actually kind of idle, cynical.
Very. And his biggest problem isn't political. It's almost existential. He's worried he's losing a husband's spirit.
What does that really mean, though?
I think it means he feels like less of a man for just sitting on the sidelines. He feels this duty to act, but he looks at the system and just sees no good options.
Because the whole thing is corrupt.
Totally. His view of the court is just bleak. He calls the emperor, the Okhu, incompetent and dark, and the officials, the Zhen.
Let me guess, not good.
He calls them powerful and corrupt criminals.
Hmm.
There's no nuance there. He sees them as gangsters, basically.
And he has a historical reason for this, right? He brings up a specific example.
He does. He points to Yang Lo Yanzhong, General Yang. And this is the ultimate cautionary tale for him.
Because the general was successful and then punished for it.
Exactly. Persecuted by the very regime he served. So the lesson Jia Runfu learns is it doesn't matter how loyal or competent you are. In this system, success just makes you a bigger target.
So there's no path forward with the government. That's a dead end.
A dead end. And that's what makes him finally look toward the rebels. He's not looking for a moral crusade. He's looking for competence. He's looking for a horse that can actually win.
It's so interesting that even though the famous hero Qin Shubao, searcher, asks for his help, he's more impressed by someone else.
Yeah, he says his real respect for Xuanzui, who we're pretty sure is the brilliant strategist Li Ji or Xu Maogong.
And it's not about who's the better fighter.
No, not at all. That's what's so revealing. He praises Xuanzui for his superior talent and insight, but the real kicker is the second part. He says he also respects scholars.
Okay. So he's not just looking for a new warlord, he's looking for a nation builder.
Precisely. Someone who understands that you need brains, not just brawn, to build something that lasts. He wants a new system built on merit. And that's the first time he sees a flicker of that possibility.
And because he has that intellectual connection, he becomes a target for them. This is where things really start to speed up. The Wagang camp sends envoys.
3 of them. And we should probably keep them straight. You've got Lin Juzhen, Wang Dangren, and Qi Weiwan.
Okay.
Lin Juzhen is the point man. He's carrying a letter from a rebel leader named Xiangshen. But their first job isn't to recruit Jia Runfu.
It's a rescue mission.
It is. They need to get the family of another core rebel, Wang Bodong, out of a village called Wangjiaji. And they need Jia Runfu to be their guide.
This is where his local knowledge becomes like a weapon.
A huge strategic asset. He tells them, look, the main Great Road will take you 3 days.
Too slow. Too visible.
Right. But he knows a shortcut. It's rougher, it goes through Dayu Ridge and across Shimei Ridge, but...
How fast is it?
1 day. It cuts the travel time by 2/3.
That's a game changer.
It completely changes the risk profile of the whole mission.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, the source says they actually travel for 3 days anyway.
Wait, why? Why not take the shortcut?
Well, it could mean they took the long way for safety. Or maybe they only traveled at night, prioritizing stealth over speed.
Okay, that makes sense. So they get to this village, Wangjiaji. It's tiny, right?
Tiny. 20 or 30 families, that's it. And the target is small too, just Wang Bodang's wife and 2 servants.
Who handles the
extraction.
the brother-in-law, a guy named Pei Shufang.
Yeah.
And the text has this great description of him. He's of Zhan.
Which means?
It basically means a hooligan or a local tough guy, but one who's good with weapons. It just shows you the kind of ad hoc security the rebels were relying on.
So they get the family, everything seems fine, Jia Runfu says his goodbyes and heads home. But then something strange happens. Yeah, this is the first real sign of the rebels' paranoia. And their planning. The unsettling detour.
Li Juzhen, one of the envoys, comes running back.
He does. He says he forgot something. But the source is really coy about it. It's just that he went back to Jia Runfu's house and did.
Such and such.
Such and such. It's incredibly vague, but the implication is huge. He was planting something or setting something up.
And he was right to be paranoid. Because at this exact moment, the imperial machine is kicking into gear.
Right. We have to jump from this little village all the way back to the imperial court to see what's happening.
And it all starts with this one powerful official, Yuan Shu.
Who had just been demoted. He had his rank stripped for some mistake he made. So he's desperate to get back in the emperor's good graces.
And he knows just how to do it.
Oh, he knows his audience. Emperor Yang is obsessed with these insane luxury projects. He's building something called the Nuinyue, a tower of bewilderment.
A pleasure palace.
Purely for pleasure. So Yuan Shu brings him these unbelievable gifts.
This isn't just a bribe, it's art.
It's next-level stuff. A Rui chariot, the Meja, and this massive 36-panel bronze screen, the Urania.
And it works.
Like a charm. His rank is restored instantly. And what's the first thing he does with his renewed power?
He goes after his enemies.
He goes right back to torturing political prisoners. Specifically, 2 guys named Wei Fuzi and Yang Jishan. It just shows the rot in the system. Corruption buys power, and power is used for repression.
And under torture, they break. They give up the one piece of information the rebels didn't want them to have.
Exactly. They confess that the rebel Wang Bodang is at Wangjiachi.
And that's the trigger.
That's the trigger. The imperial hunt is officially on. An urgent order goes out to Zhang Tongshu and Kijun to make the arrest. The clock is ticking.
Zhan Tongshu doesn't mess around. He gets 300 soldiers ready.
300 men with 4 to 5 days of supplies. For a 200-mile journey, this is a serious military operation, not just a couple of guards.
But the rebels have an inside man.
They do. Right near the official's office is the Eagle Guard Mansion. The Yuk.
And who works there?
Qin Shubao.
Qin Shubao. He hears about this arrest order for Wang Jiaji, and he immediately starts to sweat.
And not even for them. He's worried about himself.
It's pure self-preservation at first. He's terrified this investigation is going to dig up his own past problems, specifically something called the White Wine Village incident.
He knows any investigation can turn into a purge.
Right, but just as he's panicking, he gets a secret visitor. It's Lian Ming, who we're pretty sure is the same guy as Li Juzhen, just using an alias.
The guy who went back to Jia Runfu's house.
The very same. And his message is incredibly direct.
He basically lays it all out.
He does. He says, look, I am from the Wagang camp. We're just there to get the family. The family is gone now.
So when your 300 soldiers get there, they're going to find nothing? Exactly. And who are they going to blame?
The local guy who helped them. Jia Runfu.
That's the phrase. The trouble will spread to Runfu. And the plea he makes is all about personal loyalty.
Yeah.
It's based on old-day friendship.
He's calling in a favor.
A big one. He tells Qin Shubao, you have to send a warning, and you have to do it now. This is the moment the whole story pivots on. Loyalty to your friends over duty to a rotten state.
And Qin Shubao chooses his friends.
Instantly. He sends a constable, a guy named Luo Shixin, to deliver the warning. And it's smart. He sends someone who doesn't personally know Jia Runfu.
Plausible deniability.
You got it. So Luo Shixin, he finds Jia Runfu, pulls him aside, and just whispers the whole thing.
You've been accused of hiding a rebel's family. You need to run.
Imagine hearing that. But Jia Runfu gets it immediately. He knows it must have come from Qin Dage, from his friend Qin Shubao.
And his reaction is amazing. He doesn't panic. He just accepts it.
He does. His final thought is, Oichen.
I was going to have to take this path eventually anyway.
Right. The system has finally pushed him all the way out. There's no going back. He's a rebel now.
So his escape is just as methodical as you'd expect from a merchant.
Oh, absolutely. He tells his wife, he packs his valuables, gets 2 of his workers, and then, and I love this detail, he leads out his 4 or 5 livestock, his eka, but only after he feeds them.
Huh. Even on the run for his life, he's thinking about his assets.
He's not just fleeing. He's preserving his capital to start a new life. He's a businessman to the end.
And he's facing that classic choice. The main road with the soldiers or the back road with the bandits.
A terrible choice. It tells you everything about the state of the world. There is no safe path.
So he takes the small path, and just as he's hesitating, two guys jump out at him.
Shouting, "Good, you're here."
It's the other envoys, Qi Guoyuan and Wang Donggren. They were waiting for him.
They were. And this is where we see the rebel network in action. They weren't just hiding in the bushes. They were running what the source calls a ghost business.
Not a real business, I take it.
Not at all. They take him to a nearby inn run by another rebel, Zhao Dapeng. And this inn is a front.
For what?
Two things. First, it's an intelligence hub, a listening post. And second, it's a base for highway robbery.
What else?
So Jia Runfu, the respectable merchant, has officially traded his storefront for a bandit's hideout.
The transformation is complete. He's reunited with Wang Bodang's family, and the whole group finally sets off for the rebel base at Wangang.
So if we just pull back for a second, this whole story, from start to finish, was really driven by the corruption of the court.
Completely. Yuan Shu's ambition, the emperor's decadence, that's what created the threat. But it was personal loyalty, Qin Shubao's warning, that created the escape route.
It really shows that when the world is in chaos, when a wanaka, people have no master. People like Jia Runfu don't really have a choice.
They're forced to pick a side. And he chose the one that at least seemed competent.
But there's one last thing here that,
The imperial response was massive. 300 soldiers rushing to this village. But the rebels already knew they were coming. The rebel agent, Lian Zhen, had already warned Qin Shubao that the family was gone.
Xinjiang Shubao.
Right, and his story is just this perfect microcosm of the whole era. It shows how being loyal to the state could get you killed by the people running it.
Well, that's what's so fascinating about the source material here. It's not just, swords and shields on a battlefield. It really captures this insane tension where a commander like Xinjiang has to fight these huge rebel armies.
Guys like Lu Wuza and Song Jing.
Right, these massive external threats, but at the same time, he has to watch his back for the political assassins in the capital.
That collision is what makes it so good.
Yeah.
And the whole thing kicks off with something that seems almost boring. It's not a battle. It's a local law enforcement job that just spirals into this massive conspiracy to take a war hero down.
It starts with a local general, a guy named Zhang Tongshu. He gets an order to arrest the entire household of a man named Wang Bodang at his family home, Wangjiaji.
And Wang Bodang is, what, a suspected rebel sympathizer?
Probably. At the very least, he's on the wrong side of somebody powerful. So Zhang Tongshu shows up expecting to, round up a family.
But the house is dark.
The house is dark, it's locked, it's totally abandoned. They find furniture, belongings, but the family sealed the doors and bolted 5 days earlier.
So an arrest mission immediately turns into a manhunt.
It does. And Zhang Tongshu, he's under pressure, so he starts leaning on the neighbors. Hard, applying duress to get someone to talk.
And it works.
It works. A neighbor, Mr. Zhao, he cracks. He says he overheard someone yelling for a Jia Runfu to hurry back to the West Gate, saying, "We're leaving now."
Okay, so that's a huge clue. A name, Jia Runfu, and a place, the West Gate. He probably runs a shop or something there.
A whip shop, to be exact. So now they have a solid lead. Zhang Kongsho is ready to send his guys after Jia Runfu, but, well, this is the Sui dynasty. Chaos is always right around the corner.
An urgent message arrives.
Before he can even move, a messenger gallops in with a military report. Lu Wuzhu and Song Jingyang have just invaded Pingwan County with thousands of troops. It's a full-blown crisis.
So arresting some guy who helped a family escape suddenly seems a lot less important than the region collapsing.
A lot less important. National defense trumps local policing. Zhang Tongshu has to get his forces, including his best general Qing Cheng, to the front line immediately.
But he still has that original order to deal with.
He does. So he tells Qin Cheng, okay, you ride out first, arrest this Jia Runfu guy, find out where Wang Bodang's family went, and then you can join the main army.
And this is where the story turns, because the source tells us what Qin Qiang is thinking at that exact moment.
It does. It's amazing. He thinks to himself, Jia Runfu is the one I informed to leave.
Wow. So his commander just ordered him to arrest the man he secretly warned.
He's in an impossible position, a double bind. He has to obey his commander, but he has this prior loyalty to the man he's supposed to be hunting.
He can't betray Jia Runfu, but he has to look like he's trying.
So he stages the whole thing. He rides out, takes an officer with him, goes to the whip shop by the West Gate. It's locked up tight.
He puts on a good show.
Oh yeah, a great show. Asks the neighbors, who say it's been locked since yesterday. After finding nothing, he just declares, well, I have to hurry and catch up with the general to fight the rebels, and takes off.
It's just enough plausible deniability to get him out of it. The officer with him can't really argue, not with a war starting.
Exactly. And that officer eventually reports the failed arrest back to the capital, Tokyo. And that little piece of paper is about to become a weapon.
Because it lands on the desk of someone who has been waiting for an excuse.
The desk of Yuan Shu. A very powerful, very dangerous court official.
So for Qin Chong, the immediate danger is over. But this report is about to ignite a much, much bigger fire.
A much bigger fire. This isn't about Wang Bodang anymore. This is about Yuan Shu's personal vendetta against Qin Chong.
They have a history, right?
They do. Yuan Shu tried to get him before and failed, which was hugely embarrassing. He got chewed out by another official, Lai Huer, for it. So Qin Chong has been a thorn in his side for years, and this report is the perfect pretext for revenge.
He sees the failed arrest of Jia Renfu, and a light bulb goes on.
He decides to build a frame-up, a really nasty one. He drafts a memorial to the court, a formal accusation based on the supposed confession of another criminal.
And what's the charge?
Treason. The confession claims Qin Chong was dealing with known enemies of the state, Li Mi and Wang Bodang, and that while he was serving in Shandong, he was actively plotting rebellion.
Plotting rebellion.
Well,
What was the specific phrase they used? I think it was Tumubugi.
That's the one. And that's a killer phrase. It means active, planned treason against the emperor himself. It's a charge you can't just ignore, no matter how decorated a general you are.
And as he's cooking this up, his son, Yuan Huaji, chimes in with a piece of advice that is just chillingly smart.
Yeah, his son is maybe even more ruthless. Yuan Huaji tells his father, look, arresting Shen Chong on the front line is risky. He's a fierce fighter. He's beloved by his troops. It could cause a revolt.
So what's the smarter play?
The smarter play is to go after his family. He says they should simultaneously send an order to seize Qin Chong's family back in Qi County.
Leverage.
Pure psychological warfare. Huaji says that if Qin Chong knows his wife and children are being used as security, then he would not dare to become rampant. It guarantees he won't fight back.
It says everything about how rotten the Sui court was at that point, using a general's family as political hostages.
Absolutely. So Yuan Shu submits the memorial, and 2 orders go out instantly. One officer heads to the front line to arrest Qin Chong. Another heads straight for Qin County to grab his family.
They've covered all the angles. And all the while, Qin Chong has no idea this is happening. He's literally fighting for the dynasty that's trying to kill him.
He's neck deep in a brutal, grinding war in Pingwan. The source says the rebel numbers are just overwhelming. You kill a wave of them, and they just scatter and reform. You can't kill them all.
It's desperate, career-defining fighting.
It is. And it's right in the middle of this chaos that the order from the capital arrives. Zhang Zutuo, his commander, is about to discuss strategy with him when the officer shows up with a secret military document.
Zhang Zutuo reads it, an arrest warrant for his best general.
Yep. He reads it, and his face must have just fallen. He quickly shoves it back in the envelope. But the officer who brought it, he's suspicious. He knows this is the big deal, and he's probably terrified of Yuan Shu. He starts insisting they carry out the arrest immediately.
So what does Zhang Zutuo do? He can't just ignore a direct order.
No, but he doesn't panic. This is where you see he's not just a soldier, he's a brilliant political operator. He goes to his tent, and by lamplight, he starts writing a sugao, a counter-memorial.
Whoa, wait, so a sugao? That's basically him officially protesting the order, right? Isn't that unbelievably risky?
It's incredibly risky. He is putting his own career, maybe his own life, on the line. He's directly challenging a command from a top official, which could easily get him branded as an accomplice to treason.
So his argument has to be airtight. What does he even say?
He argues from merit and personal testimony. He writes that Qin Qiang has been in blood battles for the state for 5 straight years, that he's been by his side the entire time. His defense is essentially, this man is a hero, I vouch for him, this is Slandout, and you cannot afford to lose him.
He's using his own reputation as a shield. So the next morning, things come to a head.
They do. Qin Qiang shows up to talk strategy, completely oblivious. The arresting officer is there, getting more and more impatient, and he just barges in.
Zhang Zutuo tries to handle it quietly at first.
He tries. He offers the officer the sealed sugao, the official response, and basically tells him to take that back to the capital. The officer isn't having it. He's afraid Qin Chong will run.
And then he just blows the whole thing up.
He does. He shows what the source calls great courage, and just shouts right there in the command tent that he is there to arrest the rebel criminal Ching Chong.
Oh, man, I can't even imagine that moment. How does Ching Chong react?
Instantly. The second he hears himself called a traitor, he stands up, ready to surrender. He tells Zhang Zutuo, "If I don't go, the blame will fall on you, General." He's willing to sacrifice himself to protect his commander.
But Zhang Zutuo isn't going to let that happen. This is his moment of defiance.
This is it. He flatly refuses Ching Chong's offer. And he gives this incredible speech. He says it's not about friendship, it's about strategy. He tells him, "The whole of Shandong and Hebei rely on the two of us. Without you, I can't hold this line alone."
Oh.
He says a general should die for his country on the battlefield, not be handed over to torturers in some jail to please a slanderer in the capital.
That's basically a declaration of independence from the corrupt court. He's saying, your politics will not lose me this war.
Precisely. And the way he resolves it is just masterful. He seals the sugao, he sets up an incense table, and holds a formal ceremony before sending the flag bearer off with it. He makes it an official, solemn act, not just insubordination.
And he deals with the people involved.
Oh, yeah. He gives the flag bearer a bunch of money for travel expenses to make sure the document gets there fast. And then he gives the arresting officer, the guy who's just shouting at him, 10 ounces of silver.
He buys his silence?
He buys his silence and cooperation. The officer can't go back and say Zhang Zutuo was hostile. He was paid off, satisfied. It's the perfect political move.
The effect on Ching Chong must have been profound.
Totally. He's overwhelmed with gratitude. He vows to fight even harder, to win great victories to repay the state, but also to honor the man who knew his worth and risked everything for him.
It's a perfect story of loyalty rewarded. Almost.
Almost, except for that one final chilling line that the source gives us.
The sting in the tail. It warns the listener. Yet he did not know that trouble had already broken out in his home.